also appreciate you asking this question about the Altissimo, because I feel like it's something that I've been thinking about at least since high school, but I've never really gotten to talk about it. I guess in any form of detail, because I've always thought about it kind of in my own way. And as I kind of went through, and still to this day, I'm going to keep going through it. As I keep going through learning how to play Altissimo stuff and getting it refined as much as I can. I know a lot of people have their own fingerings, or there's like accepted fingerings for certain Altissimo notes, but I didn't really learn those in the beginning. I kind of was just like kind of squeaking up there until I got something. And then I eventually, some of those fingerings I stuck with, and some of them I improved by like my friends who might have been better at me at playing Altissimo at the time, or like some teachers, or like Steve Wilson, for example, that I studied with him for 2 years. Amazing saxophonist, Manhattan School of Music. He would be like, all of them would be teaching me certain things, but the core idea of what I wanted to do still came from, I guess, my desire to play stuff that was higher than what my instrument could do. And fun fact is that I started on clarinet first. And so, the range of that instrument is really broad. It's like, basically the lowest note is like alto saxophone, right? It's like one up from alto. It's a D concert, like a D3 or something. And then the highest note until you get to Altissimo stuff is basically that of a soprano sax. So it's like there's like two ranges of an instrument that are right there. So before I could master the instrument on clarinet, there were things that I was developing hearing as I got better on it. And when I switched to saxophone, it wasn't really like a switch. It was like I learned how to play it. When the saxophone came up, I was still playing clarinet, but saxophone just felt easier to play because it's the same fingering system for both octaves. So I kind of recognized that. And as I was playing, I realized that the better I got, the more I was hearing certain ideas kind of just like above where the instrument is supposed to stop. And so I just kept hearing things higher and higher. But I went from clarinet to baritone, because we didn't have any baritone saxophones in the jazz band in my middle school. And they said, if you want to be in the jazz band, you got to learn saxophone. There are no bari players. And I was new. So play bari from clarinet. So it was kind of an interesting switch. But I made it work. And my mom and my dad, though, couldn't afford to give me a bari. So I was able to rent a bari from the school for like $20 a year, but to have a saxophone at home, the alto was cheaper, and it was there, and they found one they could rent every month. So they rented me an alto to have at home. And so I was practicing bari mostly at school, but also had it at home. But I'll mostly have the alto. I mostly have the alto at home that I was practicing. And even though bari was really fun, I realized that alto was kind of just like a little easier to play in terms of kind of being dexterous and having more singing ideas that I was hearing. So I kept playing it until I had the opportunity to actually play alto in the jazz band in 8th grade before auditioning and getting to high school in Fort Lauderdale, Dillard High School. So as I was getting into high school, the musicians that attracted me the most were like the really soulful blues musicians. And I was obviously practicing Charlie Parker because my band director, Milton Mustafa Jr., he put me there. He said, you got to check out the Omni book, check out Charlie Parker. I was like, okay, I was practicing these solos and I was trying my best to get that technically. But when I heard like local heroes, Jesse Jones Jr., like, I heard him, I heard Cannonball Adderley, for the first time. And I also heard Gerald Albright because I wanted to play smooth jazz as well. And so when I heard Gerald Albright, I downloaded one of his songs. It's so funny saying that. I downloaded one of his songs on LimeWire. I can't believe I'm admitting to saying that, but because we had the library and we also had like FYE and Sam Goody, but I couldn't find this one CD of his in the record store. So I was looking the song up online and see if I could find anywhere to download it. And I found it. It was Georgia on My Mind, and I heard the way he played that live, and like that kind of changed everything for me because I didn't realize that the saxophone could do that. I didn't realize that like you can kind of like play these notes so clear up there. And I have a very vivid memory of I must have been like 14 or 15 at the time. I was practicing like Gerald Albright stuff. I was trying because anything I heard, no matter what it is, for John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, no matter who it is, Louis Armstrong, I'm gonna copy it. Like, I don't even like, I might not even know what the notes are. I might not know anything is, but I want to copy it because it sounds cool. So I'm like copying what the sound is. And I'd be trying to copy the Gerald Albright thing. And my mom was so nice. I love her to death. She's amazing. But I think there was one time I was in the living room. I wasn't even practicing. I think I just got done. I think she was like, I'm not gonna see my family nickname. They used to call me PJ, but it's like, PJ, why do you always got to play so high? You always got to play so high sometimes. It's just a funny thought to think of because I was really squealing up there. Like I was really I didn't have any kind of methodical practice method. And I think that affected how I thought about Altissimo because I wasn't thinking about what the perfect note or the perfect this is. I had the sound concept first. And so I was trying to hit that sound concept for years until I finally figured out what an actual good fingering was for it. And then once I had the fingering, it just snapped because I was like, oh yeah, this is what it is. This is what I should do. But basically the way I play Altissimo above like, I guess, high B flat, Altissimo B flat, I play it all on the palm keys because I thought that's what I just knew that because from clarinet, to get certain Altissimo, you overblow the notes, right? To get notes like above high E concert, like F sharp. So I was just overblowing palm D sharp, palm like, to get the notes above that. And that affected a lot of how I thought about the notes. And so because I didn't have any fingerings that just popped, I think it was Savon Pennicott, actually, a good friend of mine, another great saxophone player. I think we were playing with John Batiste and we were backstage and I was practicing something. And he looked at me, he's like, why don't your fingerings pop? You don't have any fingerings that like kind of pop? And I was just like, because he plays tenor and he has like, Savon is like a technical genius. Like he has all that kind of stuff together. But I was just overblowing the palm keys and I learned how to keep them in tune because I didn't know anything else. So I was doing that for years. And so the way I think about Altissimo, like always just came from a sound concept. And because I'm playing palm keys, I can kind of voice them however I want as well. Since I'm not locked into a pretty, it's unstable in nature, but it's not locked to a specific overtone. It's kind of just like, I'm here now. So I just learned, I kind of struggled through that until I learned how to keep it controlled. And I was doing that throughout everything. And then I started playing Iwi in college. And so I thought, oh, this is really cool. Maybe I won't be so limited to...
Thank you so much for watching my video so far. If you'd like to support, there are several ways to do so below. Also, likes are free. Please comment, share, and subscribe. Now back to the video.
To octaves and ranges anymore, but then it's not the same. I do like Iwi, but there's certain things I want to do that are physical with the saxophone. So I just kept working on Altissimo, like, and if there's any Iwi players out there, you might feel the same thing. It's the reason why I built a pedal board for myself. Like I put my saxophone through pedal effects because I want that electronic feel, but I like the physical feeling of the saxophone a lot. And so Altissimo just became this thing where instead of trying to get all my lines and technical things too specific, I tried to think of the ideas that I wanted to play in my head and how I wanted to sing. And like, if the line feels like it wants to go up there, then I'll play up there. Because sometimes it's just like, it just needs to be higher. I don't want to stop it here. There's something there that I want to do. And so that's kind of how I developed. It's not the most technical answer, but that's how I think about it. That's how I think about my Altissimo. And I practice overtones to get there,